there's a real awareness because the president of the school, who's on campus every day and participates in school life, is a Basilian father, and there are 2 other fathers who teach. And there's a real awareness that there's a lot expected of the boys.
I'm Agnes Stowicki, Managing Editor with Our Kids. We're speaking with insiders from Canada's leading private and independent schools to bring you insights into school programs, culture, traditions, and leadership. This includes insights from parents, alumni, and administration. This is the Our Kids Insider Perspective.
So I currently have a son in grade 12 at St. Mike's, but previously I had another son who's now graduated and working, and so our first, I guess, the first contact we had with the school was because that my older son played summer football. And some of the boys he met at summer football were either coaches from the school. It's not that case. It's not that way now, but it was then. And there were a lot of boys from the school. And so he knew, at the beginning of grade 8, he asked if he could go to St. Mike's. So really, and then that was the beginning. Then we had to start, well, not had to, then we investigated. We went open houses, saw the school, talked with different people, but that was the beginning. So it was sort of an unusual way, because I had what was he at that point? What's grade 8? Like a 12-year-old or something like that, who knew that he wanted to go to that school. So that's how we became introduced to St. Mike's. And then my son, who's there now, when it was time for us to move him to another school, a bigger school, we saw all the schools in the city in Toronto, and he chose the school. So there was no pressure on him as a second child, if that makes sense. It was, well, the fact that he knew he wanted to go there was pretty immediate. So he didn't ever waver from that. He didn't have any doubts whatsoever about that part. And then, but he was nervous. And when before he started, he asked if things didn't go the way he was hoping they would, would he be able to switch somewhere else? And of course we said yes. But luckily within about a week, he was completely comfortable and happy at the school. And it was the same the second time around for my current grade 12 son. He didn't ask ahead of time, but he was definitely nervous going in. And about a week later, and I tried not to ask too much, because you can't talk to girls, will chat a little bit more, boys not so much often. And then I asked him how he was doing, and I got a good reaction, like an, "Oh yeah, I like it, Mom, thanks," sort of thing. Probably both the same things. So my older one, I'm thinking back, because he's now working. He's graduated from university, so that was a while ago. But my current son right now, when he first started, I would say he probably really liked the fact that he could play on a football team. And because he hadn't had that opportunity before that, it was all touch and flag, but there's real football, and he really wanted a chance to play. So that would probably be his grade 9 answer. But his grade 12 answer, surprisingly to me as a mother, because this is not what you expect a kid to say particularly, the other night at dinner, he said he thinks the best thing about the school is the teachers. He said that he thinks they're the best. So that's a pretty good endorsement, I think, coming from a kid. The community. The parents, I like seeing the boys. I like seeing when kids are in high school, parents tend to not visit terribly often, but it's still nice whenever I'm around the school, and you can sort of get a sense of the community that the boys have. And then the parents have a community as well. And we I'm involved. I'm on the Parents Association. But apart from that, parents if you don't have to be on the PA to be involved, there are lots of opportunities for parents to meet one another. And then in terms of accessibility, it's a big school. It takes a little while to figure one's way around, but once you know who to talk with and go to for various different things, whatever they may be, not necessarily always related to the child's education, they're really responsive. So email, phone call, old-fashioned phone calls work. Email, EDSB, which is the internal platform that's used for parents in school and kids to communicate. Yeah, well, one thing, I don't know about the boys, because I'd have to ask them that question. But for me, I was surprised at how, so now this is thinking back to our first introduction to the school, because it did come through a sports team, it came through a football team. And I'd always heard about how, the school had this great hockey reputation and program, et cetera. 200 NFL players or something. Oh no, NHL, that's hockey. That's not my sport. 200 players or something like that have come from this school. So there's kind of a legacy, but the school I was really surprised and enjoyed the arts. They've got a fantastic arts program. So I'm someone who likes the arts. I only follow sports that my kids are involved with. And apart from that, I don't really know that much. And so I really enjoyed going to see, there's I don't want to say it's not a Broadway musical, but there's like a Broadway, like Grease, or what else have they done? I can't even remember the other ones. I think Grease was the last one. So they put on really good musicals and plays, and the bands are fantastic. The first Christmas concert, my son did not continue with music, as it's definitely not his forte, actually, for either one of them. But when they participated in their first years in the Christmas concert, there's a beautiful theater and the music was fantastic. Anyway, so that was really my biggest, was kind of like, oh, wow, this is really great. It's more than, it's not a school with a singular strength. Well, the school motto is goodness, discipline, and knowledge. And that comes from those are that comes through the Basilian Fathers. So it is a Catholic school, and religion is taught, and it's a mandatory course. Not everyone who attends the school is Catholic, and not everyone who attends the school is Christian, but it has to be taken as a course. And so that aside, that's just sort of the religious side of the school. And then, because the values, every school has a great motto. They're all dragons, and there's all sorts of. St. Mike's is definitely not the only school that has that, but there's a real awareness, because the president of the school, who's on campus every day and participates in school life, is a Basilian father, and there are 2 other fathers who teach, and there's a real awareness that there's a lot expected of the boys. They're sort of expected to live up to the school motto, and they're expected to be, I don't want to sort of put words in, use the wrong wording, but like they're expected to be good, disciplined young men of admirable character, kind of thing. There's not a typical family. And the reason is, I think, that kids come, the school has put out like an interactive lookbook sort of thing. I looked at it about a week ago. And that's the first time that I've actually seen this in writing. I've always known about it, but families come from all over. So my daughter's school, most of the kids who went to her school were in probably a 10-mile radius of the school. But at St. Michael's, kids come from Burlington. There's a family from Niagara, Markham, Woodbridge, Scarborough. So it's a Midtown Toronto school. It's at Bathurst and St. Clair, but people come from all over. So there's diversity in terms of the geography of the school. And then there also would be a diverse, and then there's a diversity because of that in terms of sort of people's backgrounds, the nationalities. My family is Scandinavian. I don't know if there are too many Scandinavians at the school. I've never really noticed. And then obviously what would follow after that would be there's economic diversity as well. So there's not really a typical, there's not a typical family, I think. Well, so he's really proud. So just to talk about him for a second, because he's now out of the school. Again, when he started in grade 8, if you asked him what his favorite subject, in grade 7, if I asked him his favorite subject, he would have said recess and lunch. Then by grade 8, it was probably gym. You know, it took a while. He ended up graduating. He did very well. He went to a university of his choice. He did well there. He's working. He's absolutely fine. But what he would say now that he's out of he's finished and working, when he got to university, he just found that he liked being, he felt very, very prepared for what was ahead. And then for the one who's in school now, again, I would say in grade 9, his thing would probably have been, oh, I get to play, I'm repeating myself, but I can't really think of any other good example. It was probably, oh, yay, I get to play football. And, you know, with the pads and all of that. And then by grade 12, now it's kind of like, yeah, I'm good marks. I'm working really hard. The teachers are inspiring me and I'm doing really well. And he's not a bookworm. And I don't mean that he's not smart. I just mean he's an average kid. Like he's not reading constantly. He goes off and does things with his friends and plays video games and does all the things that all kids do, but he does work hard and he does well and he's happy, very happy about that. Good, really good. There are, so in high school, in junior school, this is all different, but in high school, parents don't really go into the building all that often unless there's a reason that they need to be there. And the communication is between the boy, in this case, because it's a boys' school, the boy and his teacher. And if the parents need to be notified about anything, they are. And if there's nothing to worry about, you may not have any real reason to contact your teacher. There are teacher interviews twice a year. That's really helpful. And if you aren't able to attend those, we're able to communicate with the teachers, well, by email. Phone, not so much. By phone, we can contact the office, you know, people who are in one spot, but the teachers move classroom to classroom, so they're not really in one place. But there's also EDSB, this platform. I think, again, a lot of schools have some type of a platform like that where the boys keep track of their homework and what they've missed, and parents can, and there's a way of communicating with anyone. So you just type in the name and up will come the teacher's contact information and right there, and then you can send a message through. And there's always a reply, a timely reply. It's been very good. I have no complaints about that whatsoever. But community, education, because that's the number one reason you send it. You choose a school. So education, it's an excellent education. And then the next thing would be the community. And then probably the third would be, there are a whole bunch of things that could be third, but probably the third would be this, in terms of the community, as well as the community being a friendly place, I also mean the diversity of it. Like, it's really nice that there's not a format, a single type of person who attends the school. It's very different. And then, but that's diversity in the community. And then in the school, it's all the amazing arts programs, the sports, the clubs and activities. If your child doesn't see a club that he wants to join and has a couple of friends and they want to start a club, they're allowed to start a club. So it's really it's that kind of, it's just that there's so much, there's something for everyone. There's so much available. That's, I think, pretty easy for me. Take your child with you to the schools. Don't go on your own and then say, oh, I school for you. Make sure, because kids, even with universities, I know that's not what we're talking about, but the kids get, they get a feeling walking around the building. And so when you're looking, if you're looking at a private school or a CIS school, there's a lot that the child will pick up from the way the kids interact with one another in the halls, the way the teachers are the people smiling and laughing? Do they seem really uptight? Does the overall feeling make them feel good? This is such an artsy thing, isn't it? It's not really that's not a sporty thing at all. But there's an instinct that the child will have, and that needs to be listened to. And then trust your instinct. So it's a combination of but the child has to be, I think the child has to be part of it.
For more information about this school, you can visit their profile at ourkids.net.